Well, we're looking at how to help someone, how to actually how to help. Uh, it's a bit of a discovery into this kind of helping compulsion that we have and why it's really not the best. It's, this put your hand up if you know what I'm talking about, this compulsive drive to help. Like someone's in need, we've got to help. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's really cute and really nice, but it's not always effective. Have you guys tried to help people and it's gone pear-shaped? Yeah, with your best intentions, with your best intentions. It's a little more complicated than what we think. So we're going to go into a few different aspects. Well, we've got a bit of a flow of today, so we'll go through it. The first thing we're going to look at is empathetic pain and projection of why when you see someone you love, when you see them struggling or having a hard time, well, it's your pain. It's yours, it's not theirs. And a lot of the time we're trying to help someone is we're trying to actually dish off our own empathetic pain. Please be different so I stop feeling this. So much of our helping compulsion comes from that. It's called empathetic pain. It's someone that you love. If your hearts are connected, then you feel what they feel. But you'll be so surprised about how much your heart pain or your difficult experiences you're trying to solve with them. That's where a lot of this goes pear-shaped. Just trying to help someone. Psychic pressure. Psychic pressure is, again, it's an extension of the empathetic pain. If you really want to be a helper, you've got to learn how to be an environment first, not a helper. Hopefully by the end of this class, you'll see that like compulsive and being motivated to help is actually really, it's a problem. It's actually more of a problem than a solution. I know it sounds weird, but we'll get there. When to assist and when to back away. And then judgment and performative contradiction. Well, the last one's kind of the spiciest one. So it's kind of a build up till we get there. All the best things are a build up, right? All right, let's do it. Let's do it. The first thing you got to understand is empathetic pain. This is a class of people if you actually want to help people. If you actually want to help. Because there's a helper savior mode, right? Let me get on this sun. Sorry, guys. We all familiar with the helping and savior mode? Yeah, it doesn't do anything, guys. It doesn't do anything. It's an image. It's a self-image. Like when we discuss in Goyle, all the other self-images, a big one that we struggle with is the helper. Because if you're a helper, what do you make the other person automatically? I have to help you. I'm the special helper person. What does that make the other person straight away, guys? Just go on the chat panel. If I'm a helper, I'm going to help Tommy. I see he's struggling. I'm going to put on my helper badge and go help Tommy. What do I make Tommy immediately?
You got victim, less than.
Yeah.
They can't do it for themselves.
Yeah. Bingo. So we create what's called an unconscious contract. That unconscious contract is I'm going to help you, but as long as I help you, you have to stay an unconscious victim or conscious victim. So an unconscious contract is formed straight away when you think you know what's right and I'm going to help you because I know what's best for you. Hey guys, it's really, really, really rare that you know what's best for someone. I'd spend 3 hours on a Zoom with someone before I even consider working with them. 3 hours of me like this. What about this bit? What about this bit? What about this bit? What about this bit? So, and this is if you actually look at, like, let's take a large scale cultural view. If you actually look at the research, psych research on public wellness initiatives, hey, guess what? None of them work. None of them work. The actual stats on a psychological intervention in a person person is feeling this level of depression, we enact this initiative, person is better, that hardly ever works. Ever. So we cool with that? It's really, really, really fucking hard to help people in a genuine way because it's so much about where you're at, not where they're at. Are we okay? Okay, so the first thing to understand about empathetic pain is if you're trying, you have to ask yourself, why am I helping? Am I trying to solve my own heart pain by wishing they were different or were doing different? If the answer is yes, you can't help them from that position. You have to stop and look away, okay? You have to. If you're in discomfort and part of you is saying, I'm motivated to help them because they're hurting me with their actions, decisions, behavior, If you're doing that to solve your own empathetic heart pain, you're not helping, you're adding fuel to the fire. You have to walk away. You haven't got your shit under control.
Can we just jump in here now?
Yeah.
Just jump into the chat panel team. We'd love to hear from all of you. Does everybody, or who here has someone in mind in this position? Who here has someone who feels, or sorry, I'll say it again. Who here feels discomfort due to the experience someone they love is having?
Yeah.
Just jump into the
Me
chat
every
panel.
day.
I do, yes. My sister and my son. Yep, I do. Okay, great. A lot of comments coming through.
Cool. So we're all on board with that. Hopefully it makes logical sense, but we'll see. So the projection of empathetic pain is lack of essential separation. Here's where we start to bring our essential qualities in. When you have empathetic pain for someone and you project it onto them, if only they were different, if only they were better, if only they kept making the right decisions. If you think that is a solution, that you're not essentially separate from that person. You can't see them different from you. You think you can't separate the situation to see what they actually need, because helping someone's hard. Helping someone's really hard. If you can't take a step back and realize it's your own empathetic pain, you don't have the essential separation to actually be helpful. The most helpful person is the one that's most separate. You have to stay fully in your own stuff before you can be a helper.
Got to back up there, Nat.
Yeah.
Because you said the most helpful person is actually the one that's most separate.
Most separate. It's the most separate emotionally.
You say that to a loving parent trying to help their child.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, they don't help. Have we got Christy in the waiting room there, TC? Is she in?
Don't do my job.
Sorry.
Stick
Hey,
in
look,
your lane.
I've just been used to carrying the team, so I'm just trying to do everything I can. TC, I've got a lawn. It's getting pretty overgrown if you want to just jump back in your lane. Okay. So it hurts to see loved ones struggle. It sucks. If you project your pain onto their circumstance, all they feel is immense pressure to be something they're not. So here's where we get it wrong. If we don't catch step one, my empathetic pain, and I'm not separate, then what you create is something called psychic pressure. Have I spoken about this before? I think somewhere. Nah, not really, Bridie. Okay. Well, I think we'll get into it. Let's use this slide to hang on essential separation. Essential separation is really just really high levels of maturity. At the end of the day, that's what it is. My discomfort and my pain is mine. It's mine. You might be the stimulus of it. You might be the stimulus of it, but you ain't the cause. That's me. That's me. And if I can't use inquiry and my other techniques and self-understanding to handle that, then I'm only going to put pressure on you to change. That's not helpful. So if there's not essential separation, you pressurize the other person. People aren't dumb. They know when they're making bad decisions. They know when they can't get their shit together. They know when they have secret motivations. And they know when they're saying shit to your face but doing something in the background. Everyone's quite smart. It's a fact they probably don't want to change, and it's a fact they're feeling immense pressure because they'll tell your face yes on the surface, but won't do shit in the background because all they feel is pressure. No one changes from pressure. They just tell you they are. So if there's not essential separation, all you put on the other person is pressure. So if you don't recognize your empathetic pain, what you have is a twofold problem. You project onto them your stuff, right, which you make them a victim. I'm here to help you and you're the problem, number one. And number two is you just put immense pressure on them. And everyone feels that pressure. Okay, so before we go forward, do we have any stories or any examples of that? Is this making sense? Cool.
Jump into the chat team just to pulse check here. How we doing?
Yeah.
Keep rocking and rolling. Slow down. Questions?
I think where a lot of people can get confused is they confuse their attachment, their lack of essential separation with, well, it's like I don't care, then I got to stay on them, I got to stay attached. It's like, no, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You actually have to back away if there's that sense there. Moving forward, or we got something, TC?
No, everyone's saying just keep rocking and rolling.
Keep going. Cool. All right. Psychic pressure. We'll just get this one out of the way. The subtle pressure of private expectations. So when you're doing the helping thing, but in your own private life, you're going, I wish they would change. If only they would do better. Why can't they see this? They're not awake. They need to do some learning. They need to go see a mentor, whatever. When you're privately having expectations on them, which you will know, right? They feel that. Whoever you're trying to help will feel that all the time. You know why? Do you think people that you want to help, do you think they're being completely dumb and blind? No, they're having their own private conversations with themselves, and it sounds like this. You're never good enough. What's the fucking point anyway? You always try and you're just a failure. I already feel guilty enough. That's what they're saying to themselves all the time anyway. So if you've ever been in a situation where you're stuck because like, I'm doing so much for this person and they're not changing or they're not doing anything, it's because they're flogging themselves in the background. Nothing's ever worked for me anyway. What's the point? I'm just going to try and fail again. I feel guilty already. I'm not a good person. I know I'm a piece of shit. So when you go away and have your own private thoughts on why can't they just be better, you're just layering that more on them. Cool. So to actually help someone is really, really, really fucking hard because it's got nothing to do with you. Nothing. If you have a speck of anything to do with you, it only goes bad. You don't get the outcome. And you don't help them either. That's the whole point. Like, you know. All right. So if you are having private thoughts of I wish they were different, why can't they see this, da 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 da, then you got some projection stuff to do on yourself. Bottom line. See ya, whoever that was. Questions?
That person just had the thought of like, that one doesn't apply to me. See ya.
Yeah, I'm out.
No, I do love and care for this person.
I promise you. Okay,
Yeah, Kaz
push
is
on.
just sharing, wow, that's
Yep.
powerful. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, so nothing to do with you at all. Yay. All right, here's I'll just get these out. Like these are in the unconscious contract on the surface. We're doing the helping thing and we're trying to help and they're listening and we think they're listening and they're going to do the right thing. And then, oh my God, they let us down again. How can they do that? Why don't they trust me? Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's really simple. It's because this is what they're saying to themselves. So it's not like people don't want to be helped, right? The problem is not people don't want to be helped. A lot of people who are struggling do want help. They do want help all the time. They're just so unaware of what it takes to change. Just so unaware. You know, like, oh, I just need a shoulder to lean on. It's like you're about to climb Mount Everest. Do you think a shoulder to lean on is going to help? People going, oh, you can come to me whenever. It's like, yeah, but they call you and then you're like, oh, this is not the best time. You know, like it's the stuff on the surface when we try and help is so bullshit compared to what's actually going on for someone. This is why the pressure is just so compounding and doesn't do anything. Like and it's the loved ones are the worst because you kind of, if it's a family member, you're stuck with them. If it's marriage, it's long term or whatever, you know, and you love them and it hurts, and you're just hanging on. You know, I wish they could change. I wish they could change, and it's just digging the well deeper. All right. So the first step, if we actually want to help, is you have to make a change in your own self. It's this change from a motivated position to be a helper. I know what's right. You know, we've got to get out of that unconscious contract. First step. if I think I'm right or better and I can help them, we set up the unconscious contract, and then we have pain and pressure everywhere. Nothing happens. So to get out of that, you've got to understand that if you actually want to help someone, then there has to be a decent amount of essential separation. Right. And to the level where if they say something silly, you've got to say, no, that's silly. You can't think like that. You've got to have that essential separation to get to the truth. If you don't get to the truth, there is no helping. If you don't get to the truth, there is no helping. So the only way that can happen is by being an environment first. Let me explain it. For essential separation, and you know your pain is yours, not theirs. So you've got to do that first. You've got to identify that, okay, I have to stay separate from this person. And I've got to understand that if I'm having some painful experiences, it's mine, not theirs. That can be hard enough in itself. And I promise you right now that if you don't feel essentially separate from someone and you can't differentiate that difference, you're not the right person to help. You're not the helper. You can't be. You're too close, not essentially separate enough, can't distinguish the pain of yours or theirs. You can't be an environment. You have to be attached to them. You're not the helper. This is where so many marriages and relationships get it wrong, is they think that their dearly beloved has to be their therapist as well. And why can't you handle all of my emotions? You can't hold me, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. It's so complicated. Like, the person who helps you has to be a very, very specific person. That's their job. Like, it's a rare case where you can have a loved one that can do that as well and stay essentially separate. That's a different animal. So if you want to help people out here, then the closest person, the most attached, is not the helper. They have to deal with their own empathetic pain, but they're not the helper. Yes, TC.
Is there any identifiable markers for someone to start distinguishing between, like, let's say there's a relationship happening, someone's struggling, let's say addiction, or just running some sabotaging behavior?
Yeah.
Like, is there any identifying markers for someone to start become aware? And I'm thinking about the individuals like myself. You can live a mentalized life. You can go on a PD coaching, personal development journey. And when you're living in that space and territory of having learned so many maps and models,
Yeah.
and you're still living a mentalized life, you look at life as a linear view and you can see like resourceful and unresourceful behaviors. So it can be so difficult for someone to realize, like, what do you mean it's mine? Because on the surface, what I see is that is the person struggling. You know what I mean? There's many times in my life where I've sat there and thought about it and been like, no, but they are actually struggling.
Yeah.
To make that leap into, like, if I'm feeling discomfort, it's mine, not theirs. That can be such a big step.
Yeah, it is a big step, and you've got to understand a truth. You got to understand a truth is, if you actually want to help someone, you don't take their struggle away. Well, there's no point in that. You don't take their struggle away. You help them inside the struggle of life and existence. You don't try and take the struggle away or give them a perception that's softer or nicer, or you don't try and rationalize it for them. This is where the attachment comes in. Is we think we need to soften people's experience. We think we need to take it away. If only they could think like this and do like this, their pain would stop, and then my pain would stop. If you try and take the pain away or take the struggle away, you're not helping. You're distorting their reality, really, and it only makes it more confusing for them. And this is this slide exactly. You have to understand how to be in an environment, which is quite simple. So let's do it. This is how you be in an environment, right? This is really practical shit. If you love someone and they're struggling, if they're in their stuff and showing no real effort to climb out, then you'd be a total environment of allowance. You have to allow their behavior if they're not taking steps or wanted or willing to change, or if they're making an effort. Everyone here, I'm going to have a guess, you know what it takes to fucking change. How hard is it? When you're really in it, it's an hourly thing. Hourly. And we see they're going to the psych for one session a fortnight. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. So if you don't see them actively engaged in the process of climbing out of their stuff, you have to allow all their behavior. As I said, this class is if you truly want to help. But I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. If you're the person that doesn't fucking judge them and just sits with them and goes, wow, let me understand that, you're helping more than anything ever. Do you know what it's like when you see loved ones struggling? All they want is someone to go, hey, what is that like for you? That's it. Now, if you can't do that, it's highlighting your lack of essential separation. Back on you. So when you're really dialed as an environment, you notice straight away. Like I do this in sessions every day. Sometimes I get on the call with someone and then they're in their stuff and they don't want to climb out. So that's fun for me. I was like, it's a madhouse in here. What's going on? When you do that, how quickly someone turns around and goes, oh yeah, I think I really want to work with, like, it's almost immediate when you take the psychic. This is a way to take the psychic pressure out. You recognize they're not in a place to climb out of their stuff. So I'm going to dive in there with them and just kind of have a frolic around. What's going on down here? What's up? What's that like for you? Now, yeah, yes, CC.
I've got a comment come through, which is so worth reading out because this is
Yeah,
like often the threshold or where the rubber meets the road.
yeah,
That
this is it.
then
This
the
is it.
majority of people, this comment that I read out, not to sound judgy here, but the majority of people will then wave and cave and go, "Yep, then we should just actually be the help here," when it's not relevant. So Penelope shared, this is it's hard to confront when you feel like if you don't do something,
Yeah,
they could die.
yeah,
Such a
yeah.
hard one to get over.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, and I wanted to share that because I used to work with a lot of teenagers, and when I was speaking to their parents,
yeah,
the rubber meeting the road was like, but if I don't do what I've been doing, the suicide's on the table or drug
yeah,
overdose,
yeah,
and that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
seems to be my 12 years experience. That's where
guys,
that
you're gonna hate this.
concept is
Yeah,
that
you're gonna hate this, and everyone's gonna not like this. But you're not that important. You're not a piece of the factor of suicide. You're not. If someone's gonna take their own life, they're gonna take their own life, whether you say shit or do anything. You're not that important to their outcome. It's not. This is as Tommy said. This is where the rubber meets the road. Is people take on this mass amounts of guilt, right? And it's so unreasonable when someone's life ends is up to forces so much bigger than if we gave them a call or not, right? So the the impact on someone's life is not the amount of times you called them or what you said or if you were there. It's how fucking present were you with them, truly, when you're not in your own shit. That makes the biggest difference. I understand that fear because it's a really rational fear, but it just places way too much, again, importance on the helper. I must do this. Feel that pressure? I must. What if I don't? They're gonna die. Like, yeah, that's your own pain. That's your own pain. That's not theirs. Like when you walk down the street and you see homeless people that look like they're in absolute hell and suffering, you know they're not, right? They're not suffering at all. So much of them have gone so much past the survival mechanism that they're not in this mass amounts of suffering that we think. When we project our own pain onto them, we go, if I was in that situation, I would be fucking rah 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 rah. That's the projection of empathetic pain. If they don't want to get out of it, it ain't that bad. A lot of the times people are talking, complaining on the surface, when underneath it ain't that bad because they ain't changing. So we've got to take that massive burden off ourselves if we truly want to help, because it's just not true. Simply not true. The fear is real, but it's an extension of your own pain. So here's the other side to being an environment. If they're not climbing out, there's nothing you can do. So you be an environment. You just be there. Hello, hey. But if they initiate wanting to come out of their stuff, you fucking pull them out with everything you got. If they show a sign of, okay, I really want out, then you grab them by the hair and you rip them. Right? So it's nothing or everything. And you have to make the judgment call on, are they showing actual signs of wanting to come out of their stuff, or are they just giving me lip service? Are they behaving? Are they trying? Truly? Are they truly actually trying to see, think, be different? Because if you make a clear analysis and you go, they're not, because lip service is pretty good. People are good at this. You only got to judge their behavior. Right? Here's a good story from my fucking cousin. My cousin, bless his soul, but he's had a rough go. Just drugs and alcohol early on, very, very, very rough family dynamics, etc. Anyway, he's a sweetheart. Like, he's got a sweet energy. He's Aboriginal. He's half Aboriginal. Loves the Aboriginal culture. Anyway, every time he speaks to my mum, his auntie, the story is exactly the same. Oh, I've got this job lined up. I'm moving to this place. I'm going to be living here. It's going to be great. And my sweet mother is like, oh, every time he's doing so well. I'm like, you've been saying the same fucking sentence for 15 years. Oh, he's doing so well. He's just got this lined up. Do you not realize that every time he sees you, he tells you the exact same story? He is never going to change. He doesn't want to. He loves his drugs. He loves no responsibility. He ain't gonna change because he's 39 now and he hasn't. Because his lip service is so good, and even his energy while saying it is so good, that his behavior is exactly the same. So any attempt to help is waste. Because from our cultural minds, my cousin is a struggling mess. And he's going to tell everyone in the family, I'm doing this. His next bender is around the corner, guys. Like, what are we doing? Cool.
Now, do you find
Yeah.
that individuals often don't want to see it for what it is, because
Yeah.
then the
They want to
only
see,
point of call is the introspection to themselves?
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, TC. Do you have the balls to see it how it is based on behavior? If the behavior ain't changing, nothing's changing. So let them be. Let them be. They got their own journey. Don't take the struggle away from them and don't project your own shit onto them. It doesn't help. Helping is hard.
We seem to have an over Nat, I didn't tell you this. One of our private clients hit me up the other day. Elaborate on this if it's important to the call, Nat. But
Yeah.
they said to me, Tommy, I've always thought XYZ about hope and what that is.
Yeah.
In the essential realm,
Yeah.
is hope even necessary? And I was like,
Yeah.
I said, you're getting
Who
to
was
it.
that? That was clever. Don't
Yeah,
say, but that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
won't say the name. I'll hit you up later. And I said, you're understanding it. Hope is this artificial construct on believing in something that's not true yet, so that you don't have to face the fact of what reality is.
Right now. Yeah.
And we had this incredible conversation. And I think that's important to this call, because as a culture, we have such an attachment to
Yeah.
believing in an outcome that isn't here right now, to help us deal with the fact that it's really insecure and hard to
Yeah.
deal with the here right now.
Yeah. That's a lot of suffering in that. There's a lot of suffering in that construction. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. Hope, hey, what an interesting one. All right. So we're going to move into now when to back away. Because backing away is really, really important. You got to understand, if you actually want to have an impact on someone, you need to know that you need to know that at any moment you must back away if you see the signs, because we're trying to help, right? Backing away is a tool in the helping belt, and I mean a full back away. It's the thing we struggle with the most. If you're not essentially separate, you can't do this. So now we have a compulsion being mixed into trying to help. See how it doesn't work? If you can't walk away from someone at any point in the process, you can't be an effective helper. You can't be, because your attachment and the motivations and the compulsions and your needs get mixed in with the helping. So it's really, when you see it, it's really quite simple. 3 words: want, willing, and worth it. But if you can understand these inside the other person, then we're safe as houses. They have to want, okay? Do you know for certain they want to change? This is not simple stuff. Do you know for certain they want to change? How often do you just jump the gun and think, of course they want to change? How often do you do that? Of course they want to change because you're a growing thing and you're a PD thing and you love this shit and you see the impact. And why would anyone else not want that? Have you asked them? Have you asked them really directly? Hey, do you want to change out of this? Now, how many people are going to say yes to that? Honestly, probably a lot of them, right? Wanting to change is the easy bit. Everyone wants something. Of course I want to change. Of course I want to be a drug addict. Of course I want to fucking have this shit relationship. Of course, of course, of course. But we even miss that sometimes. We even miss the fact that we should just go straight to their face and say, hey, do you want to change out of this? Like, just to be honest with me. Oh, yeah. Okay, if you get a yes, then you have to go to the next word, willing. Are they willing to do hard things and receive influence? Two of the actual factors of change. You've got to do hard things and you've got to receive the influence. If they're not willing to do those things, there is no change no matter how much you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into it. They have to do hard things repeatedly and they have to receive influence. And it's the receiving influence bit that's the main one. If they don't go tools down, swords down, armor down, bullshit down, okay, please teach me, your words are nothing. Your words are nothing. So if this is why you get lip service is so easy, but in the background there's like, there's no way I'm doing hard things. And I'll tell them what they want to hear, but I'm not receiving their influence. Guys, you think about this. Everyone here, you've received influence from someone. Do you know how vulnerable do you have to be to receive actual influence? You have to be humble. You have to realize you don't know shit. You have to respect the person. They have to have a good track record. Like, to receive influence is really, really, really fucking hard because the ego hates it. The ego hates receiving influence. We just push back against it the whole time. Yes, Stacey, what are you giggling at?
Oh, just a lover. A woman that hit us up late last year really wanted to change a situation in her experience and was liking some of these calls and some things we were doing. And you had a 30, 45 minute call with her, really want,
Yeah.
butting heads. And I just
Uh,
remember you interrupted and said, I'm just going to jump in here. Are you willing to receive influence from someone other than yourself?
yeah.
And due to the dynamic and this person being a so-called industry leader in the mentoring space, was just like rattled, just went, yeah, no. And you were just like, cool, done.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah, just so down the line.
Yeah. But remember those words, receive influence, receive influence, receive influence. You'll see a lot of human relations and human connections go haywire because the correct power dynamic is not being honored or seen or respected. The person who should be receiving influence is not. The person giving the influence might be pushing or striving and not holding their actual position. The receiving influence is really, really, really fucking important. Again, the ego hates it. Your ego hates it all the time.
But it's important that I like how you mentioned the other side of the coin too. It's not just an individual's not
No.
humble enough to receive influence, but also sometimes discerning that the person trying to provide the influence is striving to be enough to be that person when they
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
Yeah. Pushing, striving, attaching, which is the psychic pressure. You know, I'm the influence. You should listen to me. Why don't they listen to me? I'm so smart. I'm righteous. I'm right all the time, and no one sees me, and no one values that. And even though they are, they've got their own shit getting in the way. Even though that's all true, receiving influence, giving influence, and receiving influence is so much about the position you're in, not whether it's right or wrong. Do you know? Are you keeping your shit together? Okay, last one. Is it worth it? Can they tell you why it's worth it for them? If they can't say, yes, it's really worth it for me to change because of this, if they can't get the words, if they can't finish that sentence or ask that question or answer it, they ain't gonna change either. They don't know. If they can't tell you why it's worth it to them, they ain't gonna change. You know, it takes someone to be in this place. This is so fucking worth it to me because I can't keep letting my kids down. Then you go, now we have some source. Or I just can't keep feeling this way, or I can't repeat this again. But if they can't even put the words together about why it's worth it for them, the motivation system inside them is not set up for change. They have to be in their struggle. If you want to be a helper, you've got to realize that people have to be in their struggle. Sometimes you'll understand their struggle and sometimes you won't. Who is that? If someone, let's do this. If someone wants something, tell you they want it. If you don't get the willing and you don't get the worth it, there's no point being a helper. You go be an environment. It's not the wanting bit that's everyone wants something. It's the willing and worth it. If they can't get their head around the willing and the worth it, whether you've got some questions, then you're off the hook. You're off the hook. Helping is hard. You're off the hook. It's not your place to help. It's not your time. It's not the right person, whatever. But if you can't give your, if you can't turn off the helper in you and you go, oh, but you should really, then it's you. So they have to be willing and they have to understand what's worth it. Otherwise, they are not in a position to change. Okay, so essentially want yes to all before any of your effort can take any effect. So the reason my helpers get so burnt out is because they can't even see that their efforts are landing in the wrong place, deaf ears, wrong sandpit. It's not doing anything. The reason why a helper gets exhausted, and, oh my God, I gave you so much and you didn't do this, is because it was your own shit. When you're really, really helping, you never get exhausted. When you're actually an environment of support and help and understanding, you never, ever, ever, ever get exhausted. If you've done the helping thing in a relationship or business or whatever, I gave so much to you and now I'm exhausted. Cool. That was you. You did shit no one asked you to do. You went to places no one wanted you to be there. You didn't ask the right questions and you're wasting your time and energy.
Can we get a check in, Nat? Do you think this? Guys, jump in the chat panel. How someone commented through, Kelly, great steps. How we doing? How's this going down? Simple, clear, effective. Nat, as you're going through these, I'm reminded of hundreds of calls again with parents about wanting their kids to get coaching with me.
Parents
and what's interesting about this, wanting was on board for both of them, willing was on board for both of them, and the problem 90% of the time lay in the worth it. There was a complete difference between the parents why it's worth it and the child's. So I don't want my kid to do drugs anymore or have depression, or I want them to do really good in school.
Yeah.
The child's worth it is just completely different.
Man, I don't know. I'm here. I'm just, yeah.
They've all got, most of them had a worth it. That was the interesting thing. It was just so far from what the parents wanted.
Amazing. That's even better. Cool.
Mel sharing, massive and eye-opening. Anita sharing, this is very clear. I would have saved myself so much pain and heartache if I understood this a long time ago.
Great. That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. The old bleeding helper's heart. I think that's another slide. Yeah, what do we got here? Okay. We'll round off the class here. You can't be a helper and a judger at the same time, right? So check this one out. This is a gnarly one. If you're trying to help someone and it doesn't go your way, and then you go home and have a little private judgment session about them, hey, go grab a mirror immediately, right? A speck. I'm talking a speck of judgment on that person. You're fucking nut. No way. I'm not having that at all. You have to go back and reflect and you have to get space from that person because you're all tied up. You can't help. You can't be an environment of true help and judgment at the same time. This is called a performative contradiction. You're having a conflict in your own motives, right? So you're performing a contradiction. I want to help you, but then you're going back and judging them. You are in a conflict. That's your conflict. You have a conflicting motive and you have to back away from that person because it's so unfair on them. Because you don't even know what you're doing. If you can't be in clean and pristine zero judgment, then you do not qualify as a helper. Get out of there. That's the strict rule on that one. Because you don't even know how your motivations are being mixed in with your so-called helping. You don't know that. You don't know what's going on. If you actually have a judgment about them, truly, and you know it in your own private time, but on the surface you're helping, You have to stop. You have to stop.
Now, how does someone discern the difference? I know a lot of individuals who can be quite judgy, but it's masked with I'm an accepting person because I have certain beliefs and I accept you for all that you are. And I sorry, I've got to say it, Nat.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a big experience
yeah.
for a
Well,
lot
they're
of
lying to
people.
they're lying to themselves. They're lying to themselves because if you judge someone, if you have a judgment about anyone, the next step down in the psychology underneath that is you have an unrecognized inner conflict. And underneath that is a personal truth that you have not accepted about yourself yet. So any judgment you make on anyone, the first question you should ask yourself is what inner conflict am I in right now? And what personal truth about me am I unwilling to accept? Because this you're no one, if you're judging people and helping at the same time, that's a recipe for a toxic situation when no everyone just collapses. What you'll find if you've tracked a bit about stuff that we're doing here and you understand the structures of mind, this is happens in green a lot. So green is our really it's start of the woke culture. It's all that stuff there. It's all the deconstructionism and that jazz. What you'll find is the reason why they're so challenging to get your head around is because they basically live a performative contradiction. They they're so sharp with their words and their behavior directly contradicts that. It's like they do the thing. They can't even see the fact that they're doing the thing they're saying. Like the whole safe spaces thing is so blindingly performative contradiction. Check this out. Imagine this, right? Imagine this is a fun thing to say. Imagine if we had a safe space set up and you needed a safe space to go to because you were feeling threatened by the world or whatever. And you go, oh, that's right. Hang on. There's this new public initiative thing called the safe space. And you walk in there and you're desperately needing a safe space to rest your head and your weary heart. You walk in and someone goes, hi, this is a really safe space. Welcome. What are you going to think immediately? What's the immediate thought? This isn't a safe space. Hi, I'm a stranger. Welcome to a safe place. it, it doesn't, it's like chewing razor blades because it's a performative contradiction. If it's that safe, why the fuck are we talking about it? You know, so in the woke culture, what you have is all of their like, we need to look after everyone, but at the same time, all they do is judge the hell out of everyone at the exact same time. We need to create all these special groups, but we need to be righteous at the same time. Like their whole, yeah, their whole kind of bag is a performative contradiction. All right, all right, all right. Let me get you out of the way. So if you judge someone, okay, if you judge someone for not taking your advice or assistance, then you have your own selfish motives kind of mixed in with your helping. Here's some of the selfish motives that gets mixed in with it when we're trying to help. I want them to be different, so my pain stops. Right, that's your own motive creeping in there. I want them to be different because it reflects bad on me. That's a big one. How they're being or doing makes my image look bad, so I'm going to go help them. I've always been right. Why don't they listen to me? You know, so we have the righteous motivation creeping into the helping. If only they would be different, so they could see my side of the story. That's the resenty one, the resenty kind of victim holding on to stuff. If only they could see my side of the story. And here's another one. I want them to be different, so my guilt goes away. TC, the TC giggle.
I think I've got a brother that just I used every one of those against.
Yeah.
Every different brother was just like that one I'm
Every
using
different
for him,
brother.
that one, all wrapped up in I'm going to save them all.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, exactly. So that's a performative contradiction. That's when the helping is mixed in with your own kind of selfish motives. Um, and you see it all the time. Like I just tried to help them, and now I'm judging them. It's like, well, you actually haven't done anything. All right, that's the class. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the class. How'd we go?
Jump
Nice
into the
one.
jump into the chat panel team. We'd love to hear from all of you. Bridie, Nicole, Caleb, Jakey Boy, Brett, Anita. That's a lot of people on the call. Jump
That's
into the
great.
chat, give some feedback. And that I did want to wrap up. I did like take note of this to bring up again.
Yeah.
We got to drill home. It's so important to drill home. If I'm feeling their pain, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
The
not.
empathetic pain.
The empathetic pain is just
It's yours.
that's it to start with. Like if you can't get the
Yeah.
head or the heart around that,
Yeah.
step away.
Yeah. Totally. If you exactly right. Like inquiry. If you do not learn inquiry, go to our inquiries fundamentals course. Like your experience, first person experience, the felt experience, your felt experience, it's yours to be with. It's yours to be with. This is just an inquiry. Like this whole helping thing is just an inquiry into your own empathetic pain with the people that you love. And are you separate from them or not? Like
Friday
yeah,
bookmark that in potentially for our members empathetic pain inquiry.
cool, nice, done. Caleb, yeah. I got a great story. Last story from a mentor of mine, an American guy when I was in the sports psych world. Um, he would have his athletes, right? He would be the guy. He worked for the Seattle Seahawks. He'd have his athletes come to him. They were forced to do a session a fortnight, all personal stuff, right? So at the highest level of the NFL, they're being forced to do private deep coaching, and they would cut. His job was basically to handle all the personal issues in the athletes' lives, and he'd have one approach. He'd have one approach, right? One simple approach, because obviously big roster of athletes. What's the fastest, most effective way to get through to someone? He would say, "Okay, how's it? What's the real difficulties? How are you feeling about it? How you manage it? Cool. And he'd find the most difficult thing. He'd find the most difficult thing in their life, and he'd look at them and say, "What the hell are you going to do about that?" So, right, the whole thing was, I'm not here to help you at all. I'm not here to help you. I'm here to show you that bit right there, what the fuck is your plan? What are you going to do about that? And so he'd just have athlete after athlete after athlete. Oh, this. And he'd just hold them there and go, no. It's never this person, this person, this person. It's not even me. What are you going to do about that very specific thing there? Because after that, he would say it's really easy. If they dive in and went and did something about it, he would be their number one supporter. If they didn't do shit, he wouldn't even talk to them. Right? Perfect mirror as an environment. Perfect environment mirror. If you're in, I am going to war with you. If you don't do shit, I'm vanishing. That's how you understand true assistance on someone. Cool.
Sounds like the opposite of the safe space, really, doesn't it? It's like
That's the exact opposite. That's the exact opposite. You're exactly right. Yeah. It's the difference between a weak psychology and a really, really strong psychology. A weak psychology. We help everyone all the time because it's horrible. Strong psychology is like, nah, people can handle it. People need their struggle. People need their struggle. If they don't see them actively getting at it, they need the struggle. When do we lose that? When do we lose that virtue of endurance? You know how powerful it is when someone who's struggling, you say, hey, look, this is your struggle. Strap in. Strap in. Carry more. It's shit. Who cares? You can do it.
Penelope sharing in response to your example with the athletes. Could they view that as an ultimatum?
No, because there's no abandonment. Ultimatums are only if there's abandonment. No one said anything about abandonment. It's just a hardcore accountability. There's no abandonment. It's all choice. You know, the ultimatum is never a good call either, right? The ultimatum is you better do this or I'm gonna leave. That's you again. That's you again. What do you mean you're gonna leave? What do you mean? You're not essentially separate then. You can't keep your shit together while someone else is in their struggle. I have to leave you if you don't change. What do you mean? It's so weird when you think about it. They're in their struggle. They might change, they might not. If you don't do this and I'm going to leave you, well, great. Thanks a lot. Because there's a million reasons why I can't change. And now you're just another one that's going to leave. Awesome. The ultimatum is the ultimate dose of psychic pressure. That's the ultimate dose of look how much of a failure you are. I have to get to this ultimatum. Oh, I'm just disgusted in you. That's not helpful. Never ultimatums, guys. Never ultimatums.
Somebody's asking,
Yeah.
somebody's asking a question, which I will divert to. How can you do? These are specific interpersonal questions now coming through, so we're not going to attend to them, but there are some resources. Mel sharing, how can you do that with your 15-year-old son, though, when they aren't willing to do anything? Nat mentioned before, inquiry fundamental course. If you're not consciously inquiring on the daily, if not on the weekly, any how to help someone question is irrelevant. Apologies if that sounds harsh.
Yeah, so this is really this is the point where this company exists, right? Is because we know how to handle irreconcilable conflicts. When you have a son, 15, he ain't going to change. He's going to be in his struggle, and you can't do shit about it. Then that's an irreconcilable conflict. It's so hard as a mum or a dad or whatever to go, that's my son, that's my flesh and blood, and look at that path he or she's on. What the hell do I do? Leave room for an answer which is nothing, and go look at yourself. And then we use inquiry. We inquire into our own experience. What's it like to be a father? What was it like when I was that age? What was happening for me? And yeah, you go through a process. There's a reason why there's a blockage to the helping. And imagine that. There's an actual reason why you're not the helper, even though you're mum or dad. You got to understand that there's a reason why I'm not the helper right now. Whoa, that's interesting.
No, we'll finish on this because Mel, I think you might resonate from this. Feel free. I don't often say this. Take a pen and write this one down. We had a call with a client yesterday. Incredible woman, irreconcilable conflict with young son. Similar to what Nat said there. There is a reason for the resistance.
Yeah.
And she said, but I know, but I need to help them. They need to stop doing this thing that they're doing.
Yeah,
They need to
yeah,
stop
yeah.
it. And I was like, you're not listening. There's a reason you don't have a solution. Did you ever think that the solution would come because you're a smart, capable, switched on person? If you don't have a solution yet, then there's a reason for that.
That's
And
reason.
she said, what do I do with that? And my line
Yeah,
of
yeah.
inquiry for her
What do I
was,
do with that?
ask yourself, what is my son attempting to dissolve in me?
Beautiful quote. Yeah, beautiful,
And
beautiful.
that's a line of inquiry of
That's heart
what
language. Yeah,
what's ready to be dissolved in me,
yeah.
that this beautiful bundle of joy is highlighting for me in
They
some
don't
way.
need that part of me. For as harsh as it sounds, they don't need that part of you. Sorry. Yeah, that's heart stuff. That's cool. That's cool.
Bang call.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, NH. A lot of comments coming through saying thanks, Nat. Great
Yeah,
call. Very
no
helpful.
worries. No worries. No worries. No worries.
See you guys in 4 weeks.
Yeah.